Southern rust continues to affect more Nebraska counties. UNL Extension plant pathologist Tamra Jackson-Ziems spoke with us earlier this week about scouting, treating, and the severity of the disease in this state.
This week, I think we're up to about 20 counties or so where we have confirmed southern rust in them. Now, that's not to say that eastern and south central Nebraska are the only places where southern rust is. It's likely in many more areas of the state.
In those areas that you have seen it, how severe is it?
Well, in some parts of the state where we've been watching it and it hasn't been doing much and hasn't changed much over the last 2 weeks, we are starting to see it increase rapidly. There are some areas, say in eastern Nebraska as well as south central, where they're noticing rapid increases. And so now is what we have been concerned about, and we want to emphasize that they need to be out scouting and being prepared to make a management decision if they need to.
We've seen some cool weather over the last few weeks, at least cool compared to normal. Now the extended forecast does show some heat moving in. What could that maybe allow in some of these fields?
Well, southern rust is more of a warm season disease, and so the optimal temperatures for southern rust are in the upper 70s and lower 80s. We've been pretty cool and had cool nighttime temperatures. That's probably worked in our favor to keep that disease at bay for now. Well, with the warmer temperatures, and we've still got the high humidity and rainfall and light sprinkles, we've got the moisture, this is leading into a situation where we could have an increase in the disease now.
And what are the management decisions to make there on whether to spray or whether not to spray?
Well, there's a lot of things to take into consideration. Not only the disease in your field and what you're seeing develop in your area, they need to take into consideration the stage that the corn is at. And so obviously when you get toward the end of the season and getting into late dough and into dent, it's too late to do anything about it. That's why it's important to have the fungicide application made before that time and to protect that last grain fill period, like the dough stage.
Any other problems that you're seeing in fields? Stalk rot a problem, anything like that?
Well, that's certainly something to think about. So if southern rust does become a big problem in some of these fields, it takes away leaf area and the stalks can actually be cannibalized, and it could lead to quite a bit of stalk rot this fall, not to mention all the hail events that we've had that I think we'll be visiting about more in the coming weeks.
There has been some hail damage stripped through central Nebraska. What are some of the things that would be concerning about that?
Well, the hail and the wind damage, of course, causes significant wounding to these plants. And wounds of any kind are going to be allowing pathogens to infect the plants. And so, of course, we have to think about Goss's wilt. That's a perennial problem for us now in Nebraska. And so scouting for Goss's wilt and knowing whether or not you've got it will help you make seed selection decisions this fall for next year or in 2 years when you're thinking about what hybrids to plant. In addition, though, this time of the year we need to talk about what those wounds and other things how they're going to impact the corn. And so things like stalk rot diseases are certainly something to think about, and especially ear rot diseases. I want people to be aware this time of year that ear rot diseases can get started, and so all those bruises and wounds are just open doors for those fungi that are in every field. They may notice some of these fungi when they peel back the husk and look when they're making their preliminary scouts. That can have long-term impacts as far as and decisions that need to be made about how they're going to handle that grain and what could happen to it during storage.